Welcome to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS, who we very much appreciate, and also brought to you by Action Family Counseling and Action, a Parent-Teen Support Program. Action Family Counseling is rehabilitation centers for both adolescents and adults. We serve a population of 12 years old and up in a residential setting and in an intensive outpatient setting. And Action Parent-Teen Support Program, which is local support programs for parents and their teens who are going through rough times. And we meet in two different locations. We have English-speaking 7 p.m. on Tuesday nights at Canyon High School, and we meet in the AA building. And we also have a Spanish-speaking parent-teen support program at Hart High School on Tuesday nights, 7 to 9 p.m. that meets in the library. And I am Bob Sheritz, Program Director at Action Family Counseling, and also your host for Families in Action. And we have a special show today. In studio with me today, I have Mayor Bob Keller. Hi, Mr. Keller.
Bob, great to be here with you today.
Thank you. And we also have Chrissy McAvee. Hi, Chrissy.
Hi, Bob. Nice to be here, too.
And Chrissy's been a regular guest on the show before, and I'll tell you why they're on is because it has recently come to our attention, and this is not a new controversy. It's been Urban Outfitters recently came out with a line of products, and I'll just give you a brief description of what those products are. And one is an alcohol flask, and everyone who's familiar with a flask fits in your inside pocket, real easy to drink from. Another are a set of shot glasses, and another one is a beer koozie, and another one is a creative way of dispensing alcohol to someone who drinks it. That in itself is not the big controversy, is that they are alcohol containers. The big controversy is that they are marketed and they have emblems on them that almost identically resemble prescription pill bottles. And what they say on the bottles are things like, here's a prescription for fun, and it looks just like the shot glasses look like pill bottles, the flasks look like pill bottles, and the dispensers for alcohol are in the shape of syringes so that you can shoot an ounce of alcohol or an ounce and a half of alcohol into your mouth to get drunk. And they say things like, drink as much as possible to get drunk as quickly as you can, and that's our prescription for fun. And that's, in my own words, that's not exactly what it says. But when this was brought to our attention, of course, some people were outraged, some were very concerned, and you can easily see why. So today we are going to ask formally Action Family Counseling, the City of Santa Clarita, and everybody else who's involved in this awareness is going to ask Urban Outfitters to please pull these products from your shelves, from your online stores, because we feel, in light of the prescription drug epidemic that is sweeping the nation and the world, that making light of such an epidemic and glorifying that drug use is certainly just unquestionably not okay. It's not okay. So we are going to talk about that a little bit, but mostly we're going to talk about the continuing epidemic that sweeps our nation, and give you some statistics and talk about in Santa Clarita what all the agencies, including the city, including the sheriff's department, including the school board, and including concerned parents like Chrissy, are getting together and doing so that we can combat the ever-growing drug problem in our town and in the United States. Santa Clarita is not exclusive with the drug problem. It's just that we have such an awareness campaign that, people are talking about it out here. So what we're going to do is we're going to get into that very shortly. I think we're going to take a break a little bit early and then come back and talk exclusively about those things. So this is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Can I?
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. In about 6 months ago, the Los Angeles Times came out with an article that highlighted some recent statistics. And in that article, they stated that as of 2009, the number of deaths because of direct overdose deaths because of drugs in the United States had surpassed the number of deaths due to automobile accidents. And I put that out there just to give you an idea of truly how big this epidemic is. And then a month ago, there was an article put out in the Los Angeles Times, and I highlighted a couple of things and brought some notes here that says, despite efforts by law enforcement and public health officials to curb prescription drug abuse, drug-related deaths in the United States have continued to rise. And so over the last couple of years, since 2009, since that statistic came out, it hasn't gotten any better. And it says that drug fatalities have increased 3% in 2010, and current data and trends show that it's increasing 3% again in 2011, again in 2012, and here we are in 2013. So it's on the rise from that statistic. And there is a number on here that shows in 2010, 16,651 overdose deaths involving prescription painkillers in 2010. And so we're talking about a huge, huge number of people. We're talking about an epidemic when it comes to prescription painkiller abuse and other prescription medication abuse. It is a huge problem. And so any company that makes light of this situation, or any products that make light of this situation, we want to certainly ask them to be discontinued. Santa Clarita is really unique in terms of cities in the United States, and if you live here, you know what I'm talking about. You know what the collaborative efforts that are put together to raise awareness for the drug problem, all the tremendous stuff that's been done in the schools, in the sheriff's department, in the cities, in local organizations, and how we come together and really, really are making a difference here in Santa Clarita. It's been like that for quite a number of years, but I think that it really, really changed when Captain Paul Becker took over at the Sheriff's Department. That was a big change. And there was an event that happened where Mayor Keller and Chrissy McAfee met. And Chrissy, could you tell us a little bit about just a real brief history on how you got there, and then what that meeting was like, and what we're doing in the city? And then Mayor Keller, you can talk about what we're doing in the city to combat this huge problem. Chrissy?
Well, I lost my son, Trey, to a heroin overdose. I walked out one morning to go to work, and I found him. And that in itself is what took me to City Hall. I had been battling his drug addiction with him for 4 years, in and out of jail, in and out of rehabs. I had been reaching out to everyone that I could possibly try and get help with, and I felt like nothing was being done. And so after the loss of my son, I was so frustrated because I knew that I had tried to do everything I could, and it just didn't seem to be working. I didn't know what else to do, so I just basically went to kind of beg the city council to help me, to help other people, you know. And I just wrote up something because I just took it there, and I just read it through many, many, many tears. And that's when I met Mayor Keller, and he really helped because I don't know how to explain it. Why don't you, Bob? You just kind of took over. I know I was an emotional mess that day, but what happened after that was just a snowball effect that I never expected.
Yeah. Mayor Keller, you remember that meeting?
Oh, most definitely I do. Absolutely. I heard this mother during the public participation portion of the council meeting come forward and describe the terrible tragedy that she and her family had to endure with the loss of her son. And, you know, normally our public participation, we limit people to 3 minutes. And clearly in her remarks that were being said, I mean, I could fully, not only the sensitivity of the matter, of course, but the importance of what was being said by Chrissy, and for people to really listen. I know I indicated to the mayor at the time, I was not mayor at that particular time, but this lady is not going to be limited to 3 minutes.
Right.
She gets to talk as long as she wants to talk. And the truth of the matter is, she really did a very effective job of getting everybody's attention in that room, I will assure you. And of course, all of us, our hearts were out to her, and anybody that should have gone through this terrible tragedy, such as Chrissy and her family did.
Yeah, and it's it really brings it home when it's personal like that, and somebody steps up. We can all feel the pain of a mother like Chrissy stepping forward. But I would imagine that it really started to raise a lot of awareness inside of the city council and elsewhere about the drug problem here and everywhere else. Correct?
Oh, absolutely. And
Yeah.
it's certainly, by no means am I suggesting that the city council or the city in any manner was negligent or not,
Of course not.
not concerned.
Right.
We've always been concerned. But you really get up close and personal when you've got a mother coming to the microphone during a council meeting and giving a description, as Chrissy did, as to this terrible circumstance. So I believe it gave us mission accomplished, Chrissy. How's that? Okay?
And
Because
a great thanks
as
to
you
you
recall,
guys.
you a few moments ago, Bob, you talked about Captain Becker. He is doing a phenomenal job for us. I do believe this was his very first city council meeting.
Oh, so he was
had
brand
just
new.
taken on his new assignment,
Well, yeah.
and
That's right.
we had some discussion amongst the council members. Anyway, I looked to our new captain and I said, "Sir, I would expect you to return at our next council meeting and give a complete report on what you, as the sheriff's department, are doing to combat this Mexican heroin that is coming into our community." And I know we're talking about the prescription drugs here, but it's the whole drug issue, and it's so critically important that we, not only as a city and not only as a police organization, but we as a society, we've got to do all we can to win this battle.
Yeah. So what do you think about products like Urban Outfitters is putting out there?
I am disgusted.
I know, right?
Absolutely disgusted. As a matter of fact,
Yeah.
having just been made aware of this specific company and what they're doing, they can look forward to a letter from me. The only thing I'm going to hold off on is see if I can garner the support, and I'm confident I will, of my entire fellow city council, and we will be happy to send them a letter from the city of Santa Clarita, and certainly giving them our disdain for what they're doing. Why any company has to go so low to try and sell products is I fail to understand the necessity.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, great. So, and we, I know Chrissy, your son Trey, died of a heroin overdose,
Yes.
but many of, most of them get there through prescription medications.
Yeah,
So
that's
just
what
to
I was
put
gonna
that out
say.
there.
He
Yeah, absolutely.
started with prescription medication.
Okay.
So I don't know, personally, I don't know any of these kids who started straight out heroin. It all started prescription and then moved on to that.
But
because it
Chrissy,
was
I'm going to throw
cheaper.
something at you too, if I may.
Uh-huh.
Yes, a lot of them start with prescription.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of them start with marijuana.
That's
Oh,
what
most definitely
Almost
first,
all of them
yeah.
That's
start
the
there, yeah.
gateway drug.
Most
Then that
definitely.
gets them into
Yep.
the next level, the next level, and the next level, and then unfortunately, then we have the tragedy that your family had to endure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, you're absolutely right.
So a couple of things. We'll talk more about that step up. I know we want to thank you very much for being here, Mayor Kaler, today, and I know you're limited a little bit on your time. Is there anything that you'd like to say? Because I don't know that we're going to have you after this next break.
Well, and I appreciate that. Yes, one is, and until Urban Outfitters clears their head, I wouldn't buy a product from them under any circumstances. That's how strong I feel about what they're doing. And the other part of it is, as I kind of touched upon a moment ago, and that's for all of us here, and particularly Santa Clarita, but obviously this extends to wherever we are here in America. Folks, do not be naive. Do not be complacent. You have got to pay attention to what your kids are doing. And I know, Chrissy, you agree with me on this. Parents, if you think that bedroom is outside of your domain, you're being dumb. I'm
Yeah.
telling you.
Absolutely.
Good for you.
Absolutely. You know what's going on in your kid's bedroom, what they have in there, and what they're doing. It is critically important for the protection in yours.
Yes, I agree. And before we lose him, I do want to take a second to just publicly let everyone know, I appreciate Mayor Keller, everything you've done, everything the city's done, and I just can't believe I've been embraced by so many people, and my family has, and I never expected this, but I appreciate it more than I can ever tell you.
Well,
I
we're
really
going to
do.
continue to do all we can. I will
Thank
tell you.
you.
You bet.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you once again for coming on the show today. We very much appreciate that message that you just gave and everything you are doing and continue to do for our city, and we appreciate it very much. We'll be right back after this break. This is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. It was, once again, we want to thank Mayor Bob Keller for coming on the show today and, and giving us those very powerful words that he just gave us, and if you're a parent out there who isn't aware of what's going on in your kid's life, become aware of what's going on in your kid's life, because you could very easily save his or her life by being proactive, and so thank you for those strong words from Mayor Keller. Chrissy, yeah, you're one of our favorite. You're one of our favorites. And one of the other things that people may not know is that you are a parent facilitator at our parenting support program as well, right?
I am, yes.
Yeah. And how's that going over there?
I love it. I love it. That's my Tuesday nights.
Well, and I tell you what's really cool about you personally, certainly not about the events that brought you here. I mean, nobody ever wants to go through the death of a child,
Absolutely not.
Can't say enough about that, but that has brought you to a place where you have helped. I mean, you've helped this city. And I know you don't like I know you don't like to be put on the spotlight for that, but that meeting at City Hall was tremendous in opening people's eyes out here. So, anything else you want to say about that?
I never dreamed that it would go. I honestly, when I say that, I never dreamed that it would snowball like this. But I have to tell you, when you lose a child and you've tried everything you can possibly do, the frustration, the hurt, the grief, you just don't understand why certain things happened.
Right.
That's all I knew to do, was to just go there and ask for help and ask for some change in certain areas. So
yeah, and that's happening. There has been some great changes in Santa Cruz.
Big changes, yes.
Yeah, so everybody's on, anyway, you can't say enough about the collaboration between all of the entities out here that are really fighting this tremendous problem. So, I get to work directly with a lot of the adolescents and the adults in our treatment centers, and I'll tell you, just to give people an idea of what kind of an epidemic we are dealing with, and this is not exclusive to Santa Clarita. It is in every city that I've ever been in, and everybody between the ages of 17 and 25, and I'm talking nearly 100%, is either using heroin or prescription opiates when they come through our door. Almost every
Absolutely.
kid, 17 to 25 years old, almost 100%. It's huge. It is the drug, is the opiates and the heroin and the prescription opiates. And then, of course, none of the other drugs have gone anywhere. We see our fair share of methamphetamine and cocaine and other drugs like that. But where does it all start? Where did it start for Trey?
It started a little bit with marijuana, but he was never a big pot smoker.
Okay.
So,
Alcohol and marijuana are the two.
those are the two main things.
Two gateway drugs, right?
Yeah. But as far as really getting addicted to the drugs, he started out with Vicodin and Xanax, sleeping pills, that type of thing, which led to the next step, which was something a little stronger, and that was snorting OxyContin.
Right.
So,
And so, just to give people an idea of why a lot of these kids end up, using heroin, but they don't start using heroin.
Right.
You know, just like it was said earlier, most drug addicts, most alcoholics start with either alcohol and or marijuana. Marijuana certainly is the beginning.
Correct.
It's the gateway drug. Almost every heroin addict that I've ever met started by smoking pot. Almost
Same
everyone.
here.
Yeah.
Same here.
And so you can't say enough about that. Is that it starts with something that a lot of parents will say, oh, it's not that big of a deal.
It's just a
They're only
teenage
smoking
thing.
pot. Everybody does it, right? But
Right.
look what it leads to.
Right.
And then of course the prescriptions are so readily available. But what happens is, whether they're legitimately prescribed or otherwise, what happens is the tolerance is building. It takes a lot more for me to feel the effect. And then they're so darn expensive, you know.
Exactly.
Just to give an idea of what an OxyContin costs on the street, you know, it's, $40, $50, $60 a pill.
And can be more. At
Yeah.
the time, my son was paying $1 a milligram.
Okay.
And he was
so
happened to have
80
80
mil-
milligrams at a time.
80 milligram pills, right? So you're
So,
talking
yeah.
$80 a pill.
Yes, and you're doing
Right.
that at least 3 or 4 times a day.
Okay. So do the math on that. But then you can turn around and you get to a certain point where you have to do that much in order to maintain and not get sick and not really,
It's just a function.
yeah, just a function. And just to give an idea of what heroin costs on the streets is you can get that high for $10.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
and the heroin today that's out there is stronger and more available than it ever has been. The kids are smoking it these days, so it seems like, oh, it's not as bad for you because I'm smoking it, So, but it starts a lot of times with the opiate use starts with the prescription medications.
Yes.
So,
Yes. And then it just gets too expensive for them, and they move on.
Yeah.
But and also, just so you know, a lot of the majority of, let's say, young teenagers, young adults, they get the prescriptions just out of medicine cabinets of friends
Yeah.
and family members
Yep.
that don't have a clue that it's being taken.
Yeah.
So that's what kind of makes it so easy, availability easy way.
Well, and let's talk about what we can do to combat that when we come back after the break, because there are ways to dispense of old medications, and we want to raise awareness. If you have those old medications in your cabinets, let's get rid of them in the proper manner and don't leave them laying around, and be aware of what your kids are doing, what your kids' friends are doing, and where your medications are at. So this is Families in Action. We'll be right back after this break. Thanks.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother. Everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS. Before I forget, we've got a little bit of time left. If you want to call in and say something about this issue, please feel free to do so at 661-298 KHTS, 661-298-5487. And also, while I'm thinking about it, if we would like everyone who's listening to get on board with the campaign against Urban Outfitters selling these products and other companies selling products like these. The Urban Outfitters drug controversy is going national. Santa Clarita is joining that national campaign. Please go to the partnership at drugfree.org and set up a Causes Online petition on May. Oh, they've set up one on May 1st. Causes Online. The goal is 5,000 signatures by the end of the month, and as of May 19th, there have been 4,000 signatures. So go to the partnership at drugfree.org and join that petition. And also, we and drugfree.org are also urging people to send an email to the CEO and chairman at Urban Outfitters. His name is Richard Hayne at richard.hayne, Hayne, at urbanout.com, or a letter to Urban Outfitters, and ask them to take these products off their shelves and stop making light of a serious epidemic in the United States and elsewhere.
I just wanted to read something real quickly. U.S. Representative Hal Rogers from Kentucky, he is the chairperson of the House Appropriations Committee, and he wrote a letter to them complaining that the products trivialize the pain and suffering of people struggling with addiction.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of our government officials that are lining up against this. We have several attorney generals right now, starting with the attorney general from Kentucky, who are all saying we need to put a stop to this.
Well, and the big deal, the big deal is that this is a serious epidemic, and if you, just a person, we see it up close and personal, just in the nature of what we do, at Action. And Chrissy, you see it up close and personal because of the tragedy of your son. But for those listening, this is a real epidemic, and everybody knows somebody who suffers from addiction. It's just huge. And if you know somebody and you know what it feels like and what the real suffering is, to take an issue like this and to make light of it and to laugh about it is, it's just unacceptable. And so, not to mention that we in the business of drug and alcohol treatment, and those that support us have done a lot to cut through the stigma that surrounds addiction. And this, what products like this do is they really take away from that effort. It's laughing at somebody who suffers from this horrible thing. So,
right, and those who suffer, 1 in 4 teenagers in their lifetime will misuse or abuse a prescription drug. 1 in 4.
25%.
Yes.
Yeah, 25% of teenagers in their lifetime will. And so huge numbers, and we can't say enough about it. So, here in Santa Clarita, we've been doing a lot to combat this problem, and we will continue to do so. There is an upcoming event. Heroin Kills is coming up in August.
Yes.
We want to make sure that everybody goes to that. If you want more information about this or any other issues that are going on or events that are going on, please call us at Action Family Counseling at 1-800-367-8336, or you can email me directly, bsharitz@actionfamily.org, and I'll make sure that I get any information and how you can get on board with raising awareness and combating this horrible issue. So let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll talk more about what's going on in Santa Clarita and elsewhere when we come back. This is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.
Come on, people now, smile on your brother, everybody get together, try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220. For more information about today or any other show, but today's show, you can go to hometownstation.com. You can also go to actionfamilycounseling.com or actionfamily.org, and you can call the station, and they will direct you to myself or someone else, 661-298-5487. And you can also call 1-800-367-8336, or you can directly email me at bsharitz, SHARITS, @actionfamily.org. So we're talking about the prescription drug epidemic that is in the United States and elsewhere, and right here in our hometown in Santa Clarita. And we're talking about companies like Urban Outfitters that make light of this epidemic and why we want them to pull their products. And I think we should put out some more about the epidemic. And Chrissy, you have some more stats for us? Here's what's going on right now.
Almost 1 in 4 teens say their parents don't care as much if they're caught using prescription drugs without a doctor's prescription compared to getting caught with illegal drugs.
So what happens, you guys, those of you that are listening, more people are dying from prescription medications than people are dying from car accidents. So get a hold of that. But we say, it's prescribed, it's not a big deal, right?
Exactly. And the sad part, too, is that more people are dying for prescription drugs than the street drugs of heroin and cocaine combined.
Yeah.
So that's just something we need to keep talking about and educating people on of how dangerous it is. And you know, of those kids who said they were abused, or of those kids who said they abused, sorry about that, prescription medication, 1 in 5 has done so before the age of 14.
Before the age of 14. Here's a scary thing that's out there. These kids have, they call them farming parties or farming.
Yes, I've heard of
and
them,
they,
yes.
what they do is they steal they take medications from wherever they can get them, which is medicine cabinets laying around wherever, and they come to parties, throw them all in a big bowl, and take whatever and see what happens.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what they do. It's
So that's a
scary.
that's a current trend that is everywhere. It's here in Santa Clarita and everywhere else. A current, very, very frightening trend.
It is, and and again, it's because that these are prescription medications that they don't understand how truly deadly they are. And one of the things that we haven't talked about yet, which I know you would have got to, but anyway, it just popped into my mind.
Let's get to it.
Is that they're mixing these with alcohol, which makes them more deadly, and that's why it's also so disturbing that these prescription, that these drinking flasks and shot glasses and things like that have the prescription stuff on the outside, because you mix those two and it's, oh my gosh, it's an even more deadly.
It multiplies the effect of both of the drugs, the alcohol and whatever medication. And so to take a product and to mix, I mean, you know, they're designed to drink alcohol with, right? And it says right on the things like,
4 hours,
you know, right? It's a prescription for booze. Here's a prescription for beer, and they're made to look like it says RX, prescription beer. You know, take 1 can by mouth, repeat until intoxicated. Liquid happiness, 12 ounce. You know, and it's prescribed by Dr. Harold Feelgood, right?
Yeah.
And here's another one, the prescriber, Dr. Koholic, Al, right?
How about this one? On the syringes or on the online, it says press down top to squirt out liquid, fill it up with booze, and let the healing begin.
And let the healing begin, right? That's not the message that we want to get across, right?
No.
And especially mixing alcohol with prescription medications, or alcohol by itself to the point of intoxication, you know, or prescription medications for recreational use.
Right.
It's a deadly combination.
Right.
And so products like this are just, you know, they're exacerbating that right there. And something that you said about, you know, we make the idea is because it's prescribed, it's not as dangerous, right? And a lot of people will think that. And you said that more people die from prescription medications than other illegal drugs combined.
Right.
And the number on that is 43% of fatal overdoses are prescription medications. 43%. So getting close to half of all fatal overdoses are prescription medications, not illegal illicit drugs.
Right.
So it's important that we understand that. So where are the kids, 14 years old, where are the kids getting it from?
Their parents' medicine cabinets, their friends, grandmas, aunts, uncles. And I will tell you, I was also told this like 2 years ago from Dell, who did some real estate stuff.
Yep.
Do you know that people were actually coming into open houses acting as though they were interested in the home, but actually going through the medicine cabinets in the homes, in the open houses, and stealing medication?
Yeah, that was a trend for a while, and I'm sure it's still going on. So,
And not just here, it's all over, but you know.
what we say is, you know, if you have prescription medications, treat them like it's a loaded gun, really.
It's true.
You know,
now.
lock them up, put them in a safe, be aware of what you have left over. The Santa Clarita Sheriff's Department, if you drive down there, in front of the Sheriff's Department, there are what are mailboxes. They look like mailboxes. They're painted white, and they're safe dispensaries for used and old medication, for old leftover medication. So there are proper ways to dispose of old medications. Be aware of what you have in your house, because the kids are getting them from us if we forget about them.
Well, right, like, you know, anyone could have had a surgery, you didn't use all your medication, you just failed to throw it out, you didn't think about it, or, you know, in the past, I've been bad about, I had this left over, I'll just save it in case I get hurt or so, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so we just can't do that.
So some common ones for those who are completely unaware of the medications that we're talking about, who may not know that they're drugs of abuse. Some of the common ones are things like Vicodin, which is
Correct.
readily prescribed by dentists and things like that.
Uh-huh.
Oxycontin is another one. Norco is another one, which is hydrocodone, just like Vicodin. Any codeines, any
Sleep medications.
sleep medications.
Anxiety medications.
Yep, like Xanax or Ativan or things like that. So any of those medications, read the labels. You know, they're addictive medications, and you got to be really, really careful with them. So,
Right. You know, I just wanted, you touched on the boxes where you can, in front of the sheriff's station.
yes.
You know, on April 27th, the DEA sponsored their National Take Back Drug Day again, or just Take Back Day.
Dispose of yeah,
where
right?
you're disposing of them. Do you know they collected 50% more pills than they thought they were going to?
Okay.
And they actually collected nationally 742,497 pounds, or 371 tons
Jeez.
of prescription medications that were collected from the public and that are now out of circulation. So our youngsters are, they can't get them.
Well, I mean, as you're saying that, it gives
That's
me
a
a real,
lot.
well, it gives me a clear picture. Those are leftover.
Leftovers.
Those are leftovers that people are willing to give up. Can you
Yes.
imagine how many are out there that they're not willing to give up or are being currently used? You know,
True.
so
Very true.
all right, we're going to offer some last words on what's going on when we come back after this break. This is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS.
You. Come on, people now. Smile on your brother. Everybody get together. Try to love one another right now.
Welcome back to Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220, KHTS. Very special thank you to Mayor Bob Keller for being on the show today. We can't thank you enough for that, and what a powerful message. I urge those of you who didn't have a chance to listen to that to go to hometownstation.com and pull up the show and listen to it, because our mayor is rock and roll, man. He's cool. Right?
We're very lucky to
Yeah,
have
we're
him.
blessed.
Very lucky.
We're blessed. And Chrissy, thanks for being on the show today.
You're
Appreciate it. It's
welcome.
always
Thank
a pleasure.
you.
And those listening, please pay attention to what's being sold in these stores and help us get them off of the shelves. Urban Outfitters is selling a line of products that is specifically for drinking alcohol, and it is designed as prescription pill bottles and prescription medication bottles, and it makes light of a very real and big epidemic. And also glorifies the drug use, and we are not okay with it. So we are asking Urban Outfitters to pull these products off of their shelves, off of the online stores, and to stop selling products that glorify drug use and make light of this huge epidemic in the United States. So any last words that you want to put out there, Chrissy?
I would just appreciate everyone out there listening. Please, go to the partnership, drugfree.org, and sign their petition. You can, and also don't just stop there. Go ahead and email Richard Hain at Urban Outfitters and urge him to pull these products. And just, go to KHTS website. They'll have all the information there for you. But please, I really would urge you to do this.
Yep. So a couple places you can go, exactly what Chrissy said, hometownstation.com, and you can click on the link there, and you can go to Families in Action on hometownstation.com. You can also go to actionfamilycounseling.com or actionfamily.org. Or you can email me directly at bsharits, SHARITS, at actionfamily.org, and I'll give you any information you want and help join the awareness campaign and the fight against prescription drug abuse here in Santa Clarita and in the United States. And, SCV is doing a tremendous job, and there are a lot of events coming up, and please get on board with the awareness campaign and join Action Family Counseling, join KHTS, join the City of Santa Clarita, the Sheriff's Department, the Hart School District, and many, many more organizations that are raising awareness and talking about the drug problem and helping to definitely save lives. So up next, you don't want to miss it. Alex Urbina's show is on, and Alex Urbina's Life Leadership is an awesome show, and you certainly don't want to miss that. So I want to thank, again, Mayor Bob Keller. I want to thank Chrissy McAfee for being on the show today. Thanks, Chrissy.
You are welcome anytime. Thank you.
All right, this is Families in Action, brought to you by your hometown station, AM 1220 KHTS.